Now that your paint is dry, you are going to draw the landscape on your sky. So I'm going to start with, you're going to start with pencil to figure out where your horizon line is going to be. A horizon line is where land meets the sky. So this line shows us where land meets the sky. This is like your sun or moon. So you want to make sure that that horizon line is below your white area to show the sun or moon. Then we're going to draw a river or lake coming towards us. So like this. So I'm going to just draw kind of a squiggly line showing us where that water is coming. Next step is going to be with the larger paintbrush to start painting this area in with black. I'll put this on fast mode. So for this part, to show stars in the sky, or this could be snowflakes, up to you, I'm gonna do stars. I'll use the back of my paintbrush to do some white dots. And I'll put this on fast mode to show my dots. But I do want to show you too that when you look in the sky at stars, some stars look bigger. Those are probably stars that are closer to us. And some stars look teeny tiny. And those stars are further away. And having stars that are bigger and smaller, like I'm showing you here, will really make this look more convincing. You also want to make sure you put some stars in your lake or pond or river too, to show that they're reflecting from that night sky. So I'll put this on fast mode while we speed it up. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick review of how to do your pine trees because these are pretty hard, you guys. So when you do your pine trees, you only want a tiny little bit of paint on your brush, because if you use a bunch of paint and then try and do the pine tree, it's gonna turn out like a blob. So when you're doing this, use your paint palette. This is your paint palette where you hold your paint. Just get a tiny little bit of paint. Use the paint palette to scrape off some of the edges so that you can get nice and thin lines. You can always get more paint from your paint palette if you need to. But if you get a whole bunch of paint on there all at once, it's going to turn into a blob. So before you do any pine trees on your final landscape, I want you to practice this on a sheet of paper first. So pine trees, you could probably try a tree like that too, for like a normal tree, if you want to try that. If it's winter time in your scene, you could do a tree with no leaves by just doing a lot of small thin lines. And I'm taking my time when I'm doing this. I'm going really slowly to make sure my paint doesn't blob, because if I apply too much pressure, my paint's just gonna blob on. And then once I have a mess like that on my paper, I can't go back and fix it. So make sure you're doing this very carefully and gently. Okay.